The reminders are scattered throughout Moscow.
It's been a little bit uncomfortable.
4 murders, killed by an edged weapon, such as a knife. No suspect in custody, but Moscow police insist the community is safe.
The police could be more forthcoming about details.
Students cut right to the chase.
Especially since, it happened so close to campus. And there's so many people here that could be potential victims.
Idaho State Police says all 4 victims were back at the King Road house, a little more than a mile from the food truck, by 1:45 a.m. Sunday, November 13th. What unfolded after that is unclear. It wasn't until noon on Sunday police received a call of an unconscious person. When they got to the home on King Road, they found the 4 victims, Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie, dead. They confirm all 4 were stabbed early Sunday morning.
Now on the news at 10, hundreds of little lights lifted in honor of the 4 bright lights who lost their lives too soon.
Xana Kernodle,
Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves. The University of Idaho community remembers these young victims of murder and wraps their arms around their families. And the love and support stretched from Moscow all around the state. Schools far and wide shined large lights in solidarity.
They're going to see this and they're going to know that they're not alone. It is everybody in the state that cares and loves them.
All Idahoans vandals for a night.
Yeah, they stood vandal strong, but they also stood shoulder to shoulder, filling up half of the football field inside the Kibbe Dome. Thousands of people showing up from around the community. Ethan's mom, Stacy, was on hand. She was one of the first parents to speak. And the minute she stood up there, and the first thing she said was, "I am Ethan's mom." And emotionally, you could see she started crying and breaking down. And from that point on, we knew that this was going to be very tugging at the heartstrings.
One by one, lights shining bright.
That actually fills my heart a little bit.
Big and small.
Boise's Office of Police Accountability conducted an investigation into Boise Police Chief Ryan Lee after 9 officers filed complaints against him. Those complaints detailed a hostile work environment, name-calling, and nepotism. Human Resources sent the officers to Internal Affairs to file their complaints. But because Lee oversees internal affairs, the officers thought they couldn't trust the department and went to the Office of Police Accountability instead.
It warrants further discussion. There will be further discussion with the Office of Police Accountability, the chief, the city, and the police union. And the public is going to be made aware of anything that happens in regards to this situation, and we'll see where it goes from here.
And we're staying on top of that breaking news just into our newsroom. Boise Police Chief Ryan Lee has resigned from his position with the Boise Police Department. It's effective next month on October 14th, and the resignation comes at the request of Boise Mayor Lauren McLean. It also comes just 24 hours after KTVB's investigative reporter Alexandra Duggan her report about Chief Lee and the complaints within the department.
Inside this building,
the House will be in order.
Some lawmakers say
the first order of business is
one organization's opinion causes division in our state.
I am deeply concerned and deeply troubled by it.
The House will now advance to the third order of business.
Have you ever seen this with a nonprofit before, having that much influence on what goes on the House floor?
No, they are very unique in that regard.
That unique influence comes in the form of nonprofit Idaho Freedom Foundation's most prized project, the Idaho Freedom Index. The Freedom Foundation says the goal is to make state legislation transparent. They say they made the index to show which legislators vote for more government and which support lower taxes, fewer regulations, and more personal liberty. Here's how the index works. In real time, as bills are introduced in the legislature, IFF's analysts rate them. And they rate all lawmakers based on how they vote for those bills. Its lobbying arm, Idaho Freedom Action, pushes the same index to endorse bills.
With every execution, co-director of the Idaho Innocence Project and the director of the Forensic Justice Project at Boise State, Dr. Greg Hampikian, says there's a risk of a mistake.
We've had over 1,500 executions since they made it legal again in 1976 in this country. We've had 187 people who are on death row exonerated, found innocent. So if we had rapid justice, and I think we do in some states, those people would have all been dead, because it takes 10 to 20 years to get someone out.
Dr. Hampikian says that's a huge error rate.
I'm not here to debate the morality, just those numbers. And if you execute someone, there's nothing that all this equipment can do to restore anything to that person.
When we think about Minidoka, we think about dust, we think about lack of privacy.
Oh, there's certainly a lot to learn about Minidoka.
Lines for everything.
But maybe there's a lot more to learn from Minidoka.
45 cents per person per day in 1942 was the amount of money spent per person.
I want them to learn the whole story about how a whole community and people were unconstitutionally, unjustly incarcerated because of their race. And I want people to understand that to a certain degree, it's still happening now. I don't think as a country we've fully grappled with it. I know as a community we're not done grappling with it. When these truths can really become part of the American narrative, we're going to be better for it. I really believe that.
It's been my life.
Gary Icola took over his father's Valley County-based logging company in the 1970s.
I grew up in it. I was going out in the woods when I was 3. So it has never been just a job.
But it is a job, and several of Gary's employees,
Part of your family,
are getting older, and they're getting ready to hang it up.
It concerns me that they're not going to be out here working too awfully much longer, and I'm going to have to replace them. And who am I going to replace them with?
Gary's average employee is 55 years old, and that's not a surprise to his son, Gabe Icola.
It's definitely mostly older people.
Because he's considered one of the young guys.
A couple of my friends I've been able to convince to come out and work for a bit, but I'm not really interested in staying for that long, it seems like.
The Idaho Sheriff's Association polled 24 of the 44 sheriff's offices in the state of Idaho and found record low staffing cripples several agencies, big and small. Kootenai County, for example, is down 22 deputies, which is 20% of sworn positions. Meanwhile, Canyon County is down 30 deputies, mostly in the jail, which is 16% of full-time sworn positions. Payette County really feeling it in their jail. They're only half staffed in that jail. Many of the agencies polled, including Ada and Canyon counties, desperately need dozens of people to fill administrative and dispatch roles. The biggest reason that agencies say they can't hire or keep officers, low wages. Among other reasons, the public's attitude toward law enforcement, poor benefits, hiring standards, the dangers that law enforcement officers face, and law enforcement culture. The survey also says that staff and employees left for jobs outside law enforcement.
It doesn't seem like it's going to get any better, so we know going into the summer and fall when we start harvesting that prices are going to be high.
This tractor alone takes 200 gallons of diesel fuel to fill up entirely. In 2021, it cost around $400 to fill it up. Right now, today, in 2022, it's costing $800. They need tractors to process almost everything at the farm, meaning they need fuel for prepping the soil, planting, and harvesting.
The Boise River flows through the heart of the city. And rapidly, you begin to feel the pulse of what really makes Boise's heart beat. This rush reveals a crush.
You guys ready for football?
A buzz, if you will. As the leaves begin to change along the shorelines, the temperature of the air will soon match the depth of the river. It serves as a reminder that fall is undefeated against summer. Soon, everyone will begin channeling their energy elsewhere as hope floats in the form of another Boise State football season.
Sweep left side, Halani turns on the Jets, cuts back on a dime and scores.
You gotta say, this season 2022 of mega importance.
Fourth quarter action approaching 10 minutes to go. Zone read, Green keeps it left side, no one home to the 30, to the 20, down the sidelines, 10-5, touchdown Kalen Green, 39 yards on the scamper for Green. Green just had too much speed for the Aztecs.
Welcome to Viewpoint. I'm Doug Petcash. They say space is the final frontier. Now, our modern-day scientific pioneers are able to peer deeper and deeper into that frontier. It's all thanks to an incredible piece of technology NASA launched. The James Webb Space Telescope is now starting to pay off its $10 billion cost with some amazing images of deep space. On the morning of July 12th, NASA revealed a series of pictures from deep space, the most detailed look ever at the origins of the universe as a new era of space exploration begins. Stunning images from the James Webb Telescope are turning what had been the subject of science fiction into reality. Clusters of galaxies, the birth and death of stars, new data on the makeup of celestial bodies.
Carrie was the first Idaho woman killed in combat when she died in a roadside bomb attack in Iraq in 2005. She was just 19 years old. The memorial will pay tribute to Carrie and all of Idaho's female veterans.
This is long overdue. We're honoring one of our own, and this is about Carrie. This is about the friendships she created.
Friendships like the one Carrie and Marissa McCarter shared. Marissa served with Carrie in 2005.
It feels larger than me.
Dylan
I like the pictures.
likes to write his own books.
One day in winter,
Yeah.
it was Christmas.
So he has been writing books since he was about 5 years old.
His latest,
It's The Adventures of Dylan Helbig's Christmas.
he finished last month.
That's you.
Yeah. By Dylan Helbig himself.
Taking an empty journal, a gift from his grandma,
And me unwrapping a Nerf gun,
and filling it in just 2 days.
even though it has 81 pages.
So you're in the book.
Yes, I am in the book.
Who else is in the book?
My mom,
Who else?
Santa,
Who else?
a giant turkey.
Okay, so what does Dylan do in the book?
So first he decorates the tree.
And the star has a bomb.
No, I think someone overnight put a bomb in there and it just exploded.
And
I get sucked into the portal and I go into the very first Thanksgiving.
the giant turkey.
Everything about it was a bit crazy.
Got it.
I know some of the words.
Writing a book
Yeah, because some of the words are my sight words.
wasn't what impressed his mom the most.
So this one I just figured was like any other one that he has written.
It was what Dylan did with his book that caught her by surprise.
I didn't know this was his ultimate plan.
His plan, he put in play days later.
I've been wanting to put a book in a library since I was 5.
But that takes editors and publishers and distributors, doesn't it?
You know, you can't just put your book on the shelf.
Or can you? Well, Dylan did.
There was a lot of librarians that I had to get past, so do you know what I did?
What'd you do?
I covered this part and covered the back with my body and just snuck it in like this. I came in running, and then I started to walk. And then I came in this aisle. This aisle. And then I put my book right here.
Complete with stickers on the spine, so it would look like it belonged.
And the next time I came back, it was gone.
That night at home, he told his mom.
I thought that we had lost it, you know, and I figured somebody would probably find it and put it in lost and found.
I think my mom called the library.
His parents were worried that we would find his book and we would get rid of it, which was an unfounded fear.
Because if there's ever a place a book would be safe, it would be here.
True.
Well, they found it.
I think it was in our stories section.
And the librarians?
Every page is illustrated.
Loved it.
Yeah, and it's a good story.
And they wanted it.
Dylan's book definitely fit all of the criteria that we would look for to include a book in our collection.
So with permission, they processed it, put on the proper stickers, and now, The Adventures of Dylan Helbig's Christmas
by Dylan himself
is a full-fledged library book.
Said, who wants to do this today? I immediately raised my hand. I said, sign me up. I'm going to eat my way through the Western Idaho Fair. I asked you, would you put me to work? And you said you were already prepped, you were ready for the crowds. And I said, oh, shucks. That was a corny joke. Okay.
Good job!
Oh, that's a lot. That is impressive. He's a one-man show. Okay, now I get to go in. Woo!